Welcome, families, to our very first virtual back to school night. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Kate Davis, and I'm the very proud principal of the Charles W. Henry School. I am so excited to welcome you tonight for our virtual back to school night. The purpose of this pre-recorded presentation is to give you an overview of what you should expect tonight, as well as share some important information and updates about our school. So let's dive in. To begin, I want to remind you what the vision and mission of the Charles W. Henry School is. You will see on my screen a copy and paste of our vision. We're a school that's dedicated to excellence. CW Henry is a learning community where instruction is child-centered and developmentally appropriate. It is incredibly important to us that all students are afforded the opportunity to achieve to their fullest potential in order to become lifelong learners and responsible members of our community. Additionally, our school's vision is to create a nurturing environment in which children can grow socially, emotionally, and academically in order to achieve personal excellence. So for tonight, an overview of our agenda. We're going to begin with this pre-recorded update about our school. And then, after viewing this recording, I hope that you will visit at least 3 classrooms at CW Henry School. We have 3 20-minute blocks where you can participate in live presentations with our teachers and have a short opportunity to ask any questions related to our instructional program, our approach to digital learning, etc. At 6:30 tonight, from 6:30 to 7, I will be hosting our Fall Title I presentation. I hope to see many of you there, and if not, I do hope that you will stay online with us and you can continue to visit your child's teachers or other important staff members at our school community. We're going to wrap up all together at 7 o'clock tonight. So I want to begin by introducing some new members of our school team. The first person who I would like to introduce is Mr. Peoples. Mr. Peoples is a first grade teacher, and he is the teacher of class 111. The next individual who I would like to introduce tonight is Ms. Perez. Ms. Perez is our community relations liaison. She works very closely with students and families. When we return in person, she will be in our main office, but she is also a resource for all of you. The third person who I would like to introduce is Mr. Conrad. Mr. Conrad is joining our music department as a second music teacher working in conjunction with Miss Paulino. And last but not least, I would like to introduce Mr. Cannon. Mr. Cannon is our full-time digital service fellow. He is working one-on-one with families to provide individualized tech support and Chromebook support. There is more information coming in this presentation about how Mr. Cannon may be able to support you and your child this year. So I'd like to share some important information about our school's reopening for the 2021 school year. So as I believe everybody knows, the CW Henry School, as well as all schools in the School District of Philadelphia, will be fully virtual into November 17th, 2020. There isn't anything particularly special about the day of November 17th, except that it is the end of our first marking period. I am responsible for developing and finalizing our school's reopening plan as we hope to transition from a fully virtual model into a hybrid model. There was an original deadline shared earlier in the summer when we intended to open originally with a hybrid model, but this deadline has been pushed back. So at this time, I do not have additional information to share about what schooling will look like after November 17th, but I can share that I'm going to be working with principals and other leaders in the School District of Philadelphia to develop a school opening plan so that no matter what the circumstances are, our students and our families will be safe and we will be ready. In July and August, I had a number of individuals from our school community submit a Google form with interest for being part of our reopening committee. We will be moving forward with our reopening committee once the school district releases finalized information around what our next steps are. And in order to plan for reopening, we do this with the support of our School Advisory Committee, or SAC for short. Additionally, if you live very close to Henry, and you may have seen students and families and community members using our school playgrounds, our school yards, or our garden in the back of the building. I'd like to share that they're unofficially open. I use the word unofficial because at this time, school district employees are still unable to host any school functions or school events on our grounds. It's important that we're maintaining the safety and health of all of our staff members. So we have not been hosting events, but I have seen many children and families using the school grounds to have some fun, which we encourage. We just ask that you maintain social distancing, that you are always wearing a mask, and as soon as you get home, wash your hands and make sure that you're doing what you need to do to keep yourself and your family members safe and healthy. And finally, if you do need anything from our physical school building, I am in the building Monday to Friday from 8:30 till at least 3 o'clock every single day. And on some days of the week, I have additional support in the building with me as well. So if you need to come to the building, you or any member of your family, to pick up materials, drop off paperwork, or retrieve an item that you may have left in the spring of 2020, I just ask that you make an appointment in order to do so. And I will be sharing more information in this presentation around how you can make this appointment. So now are some updates relating to technology. I'm very excited to share that the C.W. Henry School now has a 1-to-1 student to Chromebook ratio for technology. We were only able to achieve this through the support of the School District of Philadelphia, and it is something that I think when we return to in-person learning is going to be a huge support for our students and our teachers. When we return to a hybrid model, if we return to a hybrid model, the way that we will do this is that students will be responsible for transporting their Chromebook to and from school. That is because in a hybrid model, students will do some learning at home on designated days of the week, and then some learning in school on designated days of the week. The Chromebook would be the technology that you transport to and from school in order to use it here in the building when you're learning with your teachers, and then use it at home when you're learning at a distance. So we have roughly 100 Chromebooks available in the building right now for families who have not picked up a device. It is completely acceptable if you would like your child to continue to use a device that you have at home that works for you. You're not required to pick up a Chromebook, but I want everybody to know that if it is something that would be helpful for your family, or if it's a resource that you need, we have it here available at the school. So Ms. Perez, our community relations liaison, is the person I'm asking families to begin communicating with to schedule your pickup. Mr. Cannon, who is our digital support fellow, is also going to be offering, beginning next week, in-person tech support, which is really exciting. So this is a picture of the flyer that I plan to share with families tomorrow after our back to school night, with Mr. Cannon's contact information as well as his in-person support schedule. So you'll see up at the top of the flyer, he has his email address there, and then as of today, he has a Google Voice number where any C.W. Henry community member can call so that you can reach him during school hours in order to troubleshoot whatever is going on at home. So he is able to support you with a Chromebook that may not be working perfectly. He's also able to help and respond to questions that relate to Google Classroom or Zoom. And if he's not able to help, he definitely will direct you to the resource that will be most helpful to you. So next, I want to just share some important information about what our school schedule is looking like. So it has not changed since the first week of school. This is an overview. So we have a schedule that runs from Monday to Thursday, and then we have an adapted schedule where on Fridays. So a question that's come up from many families is around, instructional requirements. People have asked, how long is my child expected to be logged on? How much in-person or face-to-face learning is happening when they're on a Chromebook versus what are they able to do independently? So up in italics at the top, you'll see that all teachers across the School District of Philadelphia are required to provide at least 50% of instruction for each subject area synchronously. So that means if your child is in a 45-minute lesson, let's say for science or social studies, you could expect, roughly 20 to 22 minutes would be face-to-face with the teacher on the camera, and then the rest of the time could be asynchronous. But you should not be experiencing anything where it is completely asynchronous. It's important that we're having those face-to-face live moments where students can ask questions, teachers can respond directly to students' needs, and then teachers are collecting really important data about students' learning. Another really important thing to emphasize for this school year is that every single class at C.W. Henry School is participating in a 30-minute morning meeting or community meeting. This is a designated time where students and teachers are together building community, and the purpose of it is really to build connections amongst each other. We know that when we are at home or working from access centers or different learning pod centers, what we're all really missing is that human connection. So this 30-minute time at the beginning of each day is a time when we're hoping students are building connections with one another, engaging in activities and games, getting to know each other before we transition to the traditional subjects of reading, writing, and so on. This is an initiative that's a part of the School District of Philadelphia's Healing Together initiative, and we're doing it in all of the classrooms at C.W. Henry School. As I explained already in the beginning, we are working on a combination of synchronous and asynchronous assignments. The expectation is that your child is using their Chromebook from the school district or any other technology device you have at home, as well as physical workbooks or notebooks that you picked up from the school at the beginning of September. And last but not least, something that is different this year is that students are having our specials, our art, our music teachers, our phys ed, and our digital literacy on a weekly basis. The reason that kids are having one special per week is it's allowing for more consistency in the virtual world. So it's less links for you to click on, less of a schedule to remember, like, oh, what do I have today? You'll know that for one straight week, you will have art with Ms. Johnson. Or for one whole week, you'll have gym with Mr. Munter. So we are rotating on a weekly basis, and by the end of quarter one in mid-November, all students at C.W. Henry School will have had at least 2 full weeks of instruction with each of our specialist teachers. So thinking about Fridays, because Fridays are a little bit different. We have our shortened school day on Fridays. Our synchronous school day for students is from 8:30 in the morning until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That is because from 12 o'clock to 3:09, students are working on asynchronous assignments, and teachers are involved in professional development that's either happening on the school level or happening virtually on the district level. So we have developed what we have coined Fun Fridays, which is a time when children can log on to asynchronous activities that have been developed and designed by our awesome specialist teachers. These asynchronous activities will be changing on a weekly basis, so your child can expect to log on to our specialist website, which is linked in our Google Classrooms and on our Henry website, and have a different fun activity to work on each Friday. So the important thing to note about our Friday schedule is that when we transition for quarters 2, 3, and 4, it's to be announced if we're going to continue with an early dismissal, essentially for kids on Friday. If we transition to a hybrid model, it is my prediction that the district will shift what school looks like for students on Fridays. I do not have official information or guidance to share about this yet. I just wanted to put it on everybody's radar that in the next 2 months or so, what our Fridays look like may change. Okay, this slide is about internet safety in our internet classroom and our virtual school. So it is important that everybody knows that throughout the end of September and moving into October, all C.W. Henry teachers are transitioning from using Google Meets to using Zoom for all synchronous instruction. The reason that we're making this change is because Zoom is a more secure, safer platform for teachers and for students. It is important that when your child is accessing virtual school, that they're always logging on to their Google Classroom using the single sign-on from philasd.org. And as they're logging into a Zoom meeting, if it prompts students to enter their name, it is very important that they enter their full first and last name, just so that the teacher knows exactly who is there in their virtual classroom. It is incredibly, incredibly important that our Zoom links or any classroom or school-specific information is not shared outside of our school community. We're working very diligently to maintain safety for every child in the virtual learning, and it is important that the links that we create for our students really stay private to our students. And then finally, should anything come up in a virtual setting that is concerning or a violation of the code of conduct, it is important that this behavior or any incident is reported immediately. The people who you can and should report anything of concern to is always your child's teacher, but other resources across the school are our school counselor, Mr. Brogan, Ms. Perez, our community relations liaison, as well as myself, the principal. So in a virtual setting, the most reliable way to get in touch with everybody is through email, and then we can schedule a phone call as needed. All right, so this slide is sharing some important information from our school nurse. Nurse Larson has created what she's called the C.W. Henry Virtual Health Room, which is a website that gives you access to lots of important documents and information relating to any medical information or school information. So as we get closer to our reopening, whether it's in a hybrid model or a fully in-person model, Nurse Larson will be updating her website to make sure that all families have the information that they need, documents that you may need to submit that relate to immunizations or physicals, that sort of thing. If you have a child who receives medication at school, it's administered by our nurse, there's a required document that must be submitted by all families. So Nurse Larson's website is linked on our C.W. Henry website. Finally, I wanted to just highlight how you can get in touch with any member of the C.W. Henry community should you need to. So these are two screenshots from our website, and you'll see the address up there at the top, henry.philasd.org. So you're going to go to the top message banner, and you're going to click the About Us dropdown, and you'll see the fourth option down says Our Faculty and Staff. When you click that option, it's going to bring you to a page. I've only screenshotted part of it in this photo, but everybody's full name and PhilaSD email addresses are there for you to use. If you have any questions, this is a place where you can find them. And if the teacher or staff member has their own school district website that they have developed for their subject area or their grade, you'll see it hyperlinked next to their name. Finally, I just want to bring up and remind everybody that I do host bi-weekly family forums on Zoom. So these are scheduled throughout the months of October and November. It's every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. You'll see at the top of the flyer, the next meetings I'm hosting are on September the 29th. So it is the same Zoom link for every single meeting. So if you participated in a meeting already, you can use the same information to log on. And if you have not participated and would like to join one of our family forums, usually the day before, I send out the meeting information in a family letter. Whenever I send out a family letter, I always send it through our Schoolwide Remind account, as well as through our student information system, Messenger. So if you have an email address on file at the school, you should be receiving emails from me. That brings us to the end of this recording for our back to school night. At this time, all families will need to transition to our Schoolwide Spreadsheet that was shared yesterday through Remind and the parent portal. Here is a screenshot of what that spreadsheet looks like. You are now watching the principal welcomes message. So what you're going to do is you're going to scroll down on this document and you're going to locate your child's teacher. If you have a child who is in the upper school, I do recommend that you begin by visiting one of our upper school classrooms. From 6:05 to 6:25, Mr. Brogan is going to be hosting a high school selection question and answer session. So please make sure that if you have an 8th grader, as well as a child who's in another grade, you take the opportunity to visit those classrooms earlier, so hopefully you can join in on that important session. I just want to highlight for everybody that our learning support teachers, our gifted support teacher, as well as all of our specialists are hosting separate Zoom classrooms. So what you should do is that you will always be directing back to the spreadsheet, clicking on their name, and then when you're finished meeting with one teacher or staff member, you're going to leave that meeting, come back to this spreadsheet, and click on another one. That's it from me. I hope to see you at 6:30 tonight for our Fall Title I presentation. Have a wonderful virtual back to school night, and thank you again for taking the time to be here tonight. Have a nice night, everybody.